Welcome to the Ultimate Depression Survival Kit, How to Overcome and Master Depression, with me, Dr. Moses Simuyemba. We are on day 21, How to Live Your Best Life right now and right here. Let me ask you a question. Where do you live? In the past? In the future? Most people live in one of those two places, in the past or in the future. People live in the past through having regrets, hurts, thinking about mistakes, thinking about missed opportunities, thinking about lost love, thinking about people that have passed on, or thinking about the hurtful and bad things that have happened to them in the past. Sometimes it is about missing the good times in the past. But some people, a lot of people, spend a lot of time in the past. And others spend time in the future, worrying about what is to come, about tomorrow, about money, whether they'll have enough for tomorrow, about food, about shelter, about so many things to do with the future, planning for the future, working hard for the future, anxious and unsure about the future. These are the two places that most people spend their time, in the past or in the future. But very few people live now, in the present moment. Take a minute now to pause. If you need to stop this video as you do this, pause it and do this simple exercise. Take a minute to pause. Just sense everything around you right now. What do you hear? What do you feel on your skin? What does the chair you are sitting in feel like? How is the temperature of the room? How are you feeling right now? What is going on around you? Take a moment, a minute, pause this video, and just concentrate on the present moment, what you're sensing with all your senses, and what is going on around you right now. If you did that properly and actually paused the video as I had suggested and focused on the present and sensing what's around you and so on as I had suggested in the previous slide, what you have just practiced is mindfulness. And it is a form of concentration, one might say a form of meditation, where you focus totally on the present moment. And that is what I want to get into in a little more detail in the rest of this video. Very often in life, it is very easy to lose track of the world around us. It is easy to lose touch with the people around us and to lose touch with our feelings and to just be caught up in living in our heads. And by that, I mean living in the past or sometimes living in the future and neglecting what is happening around us now in terms of how we feel now, the people around us and how we are interacting with them and enjoying their company and listening to them and just being present for them, as well as being present for ourselves in the present moment. So what is mindfulness? Well, it is the psychological practice of bringing one's attention to experiences occurring in the present moment. It is paying more attention to the present moment, to your own thoughts and feelings, and to the world around you now. And this can improve your mental well-being if practiced regularly and consistently. It can help you enjoy life more and to understand yourself better. It can be developed through practice of meditation and through other forms of training. So mindfulness is really about not focusing on the past, or focusing on the future, but it is focusing on now, the present moment, bringing your mind to a state where it's focused on your present and where you are currently, what you are doing, what you are feeling, who you're with, and so on and so forth. That is what mindfulness is. It is not something that a lot of us do easily. I was always one person that has always been focused on the future, making plans. Whenever I achieve something, I'm on to the next thing and so on. And I found that through that, I was not enjoying my present. I was never enjoying anything because all I was ever looking forward to was the future, the future, the future. Things will be better in future. I'll have more money in future. I'll be happier in future, and so on and so forth. And so mindfulness is all about bringing yourself to live in the present moment. And if you analyze your life very critically, you will find that often we live in the past or in the future. We rush through everything, thinking about what we have to do next, or we are stuck in the past and able to let go of it and unable to enjoy the present, nor think hopefully about the future. But actually, the only place we have to live is now. The past is gone, as they say. Tomorrow never comes. All we have is now. The only place you can act is now. And now affects your future. And now relates to how you regard your past. But really, the only moment where you have anything, where you have any control, is now. And it's important to realize that in order to make progress in life, whether it's with depression or anything you want to do and achieve in life, now is the only time you have power to act. And now is the only time you can enjoy. So we have to make the most of now, of the present moment. We must learn to enjoy the present moment. And in order to do that, we must let go of the past and we must not worry about the future. The key is to maximize the present moment. Let's look at a few research papers around mindfulness. Here is one by Dyer et al., published in 2018. It was a systematic review of 12 different studies entitled Mindfulness Interventions in Medical Education, a systematic review of their impact on medical student stress, depression, fatigue, and burnout. So they looked at stress, fatigue, burnout, depression in medical students. And the findings were that 4 of 7 studies exploring the impact on stress reported improvements. So mindfulness led to improvement or less stress for those that practiced it in these studies. 5 articles studying depression reported reductions. So they found that mindfulness reduced the symptoms of stress, depression, fatigue, and burnout in the students who practiced mindfulness. And 1 study exploring burnout reported a decrease on a single subscale. So mindfulness also decreased burnout in these students. Here is another study by Blanc et al., published in 2018, a systematic review of 18 studies titled The Effects of Mindfulness Exercises as a Standalone Intervention on Symptoms of Anxiety and Depression, systematic review and meta-analysis. Now, they found that mindfulness had a small to medium effect on anxiety and depression when compared with controls. Don't worry about the abbreviation SAMS. It is simply one form of mindfulness that was analyzed in this study. So they found that it had an effect on reducing symptoms of anxiety and depression when compared with controls. And mere regular performance of mindfulness exercise is beneficial even without being integrated in larger therapeutic frameworks. What does that mean? They found that mindfulness alone is beneficial in reducing anxiety and depression even without other interventions such as medication or psychotherapy or anything else. Just on its own, mindfulness had a profound effect on reducing these symptoms. Chi et al. In 2019 also did a systematic review, this time of 18 studies, and the title was Effects of Mindfulness-Based Stress Reduction on Depression in Adolescents and Young Adults. And relative to control groups, remember control groups are those that don't practice the thing you are studying. So the control groups did not practice mindfulness. They say relative to the control groups, that is no treatment, treatment as usual, active control. This form of mindfulness had moderate effects in reducing depression symptoms at the end of the intervention. Okay, the mindfulness-based stress reduction. That is the kind of mindfulness they practice. And then the same kind of mindfulness had moderate effects in reducing depression in young people at post-test, meaning after the intervention, at another period after this intervention, they tested these people again and find that actually they still had a reduction in depression symptoms. So powerful studies here, 18 of them, showing that mindfulness had an effect in reducing depression symptoms during the intervention as well as sometime after the intervention. Pierre et al. In 2011 also did a systematic review of 6 randomized controlled trials or clinical trials titled The Effect of Mindfulness-Based Cognitive Therapy for Prevention of Relapse in Recurrent Major Depressive Disorder. And they found that mindfulness-based cognitive therapy significantly reduced the risk of relapse or recurrence of depression compared to treatment as usual or placebo controls, corresponding to a relative risk reduction of about 34%. So they found that those who practiced this form of mindfulness compared to those that underwent usual treatment for depression and those who underwent placebo treatment. You know, placebo treatment is where you're told you are receiving a treatment, but actually you're receiving something that is not effective, and it's known by the investigators that this is not effective. They want to see if your thinking that this thing is effective will have any effect. So in other words, it's a way of telling whether the actual intervention has an effect or the placebo has an equal effect just because somebody thinks they are getting the medication or the intervention they think they are getting. So anyway, they found that this form of mindfulness had significantly reduced relapse and recurrence of depression. In a pre-planned subgroup analysis, the relative risk reduction was 43% for participants with 3 or more previous episodes, while no risk reduction was found for participants with only 2 episodes. So in other words, the more episodes somebody had, according to these studies, the more mindfulness had an effect in reducing future occurrence of depression. In 2 studies, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy was at least as effective as maintenance antidepressant medication. There you go, showing that mindfulness actually was as effective as antidepressants in terms of preventing relapse of depression. So quite strong studies there. These are clinical trials, the strongest form of research trial or research you can have, and they found that mindfulness has a significant role to play in reducing depression symptoms. So there you go, a lot of studies there showing that mindfulness is a powerful tool when it comes to depression and anxiety and overcoming depression. It is something you need to consider doing in order to be depression-free. Make the most of the present, make the most of now, and mindfulness will help you to do that. Do that by focusing on the task at hand and immersing yourself fully in what you are doing. So you will find, after practicing various forms of mindfulness meditation, and I do share some videos in the workbook that you can look at. I also share my own video about how I practice mindfulness in my daily life. So you can look at those for more tips and help on how to practice mindfulness. But it will help you to immerse yourself in the present moment. And that way you will not be so concerned about the future and will not be so stuck in the past. These are the things that personally, amongst other things, help me to focus and to practice mindfulness. Photography. I took up photography a couple of years before I took up gymming and exercise. And I find it's an amazing way to practice mindfulness, because when you take up photography, all of a sudden you're looking for a photo opportunity everywhere. Even when you don't have the camera, you're always aware of the lighting in a place. You're always aware of what people are doing, you know, the trees, the sunset, everything becomes alive to you, because all of a sudden now you are aware and you have that lens perspective, like, oh, if I had my camera, you know, I would take a picture of that, and so on. So you start noticing things that actually other people do not notice. And I found this amazing, that when I'm with other people and I point out things, I realize they don't notice because they don't have this photography thinking and mindset where you're always looking for that opportunity to take a photo, I have found it a great way to practice mindfulness, and it's made me more aware of my surroundings, more aware of other people. Just seeing somebody smile, and I'm like, that would have been a great photo right there. I would have positioned my camera this way or that way to take that shot of them smiling, or a shot of them doing whatever they're doing. Gymming has been a great journey to practice mindfulness. Other than being in the gym to weight lift and so on, I find that I'm able to focus on my thoughts in the gym. I'm able to let go and not worry about work, not worry about what happened, not worry about what I'm going to do after. I'm just there in that moment, and it helps me to practice mindfulness too. Reading is also a great way to practice mindfulness. Whether you like reading books or physical books, or you like listening to audiobooks, it is a great way to practice mindfulness too. These are some of the ways I practice it. Like I said, it's all up to your personality and your preferences and your likes and dislikes. You can find your own ways to practice mindfulness in your own life. Let's talk about journaling now. Journaling is the practice of keeping a journal, very simply. So you keep a journal, a book that you write your thoughts in. You write what you're thinking, how you're feeling, and so on and so forth. And writing, I have found, is very therapeutic. It helps you to focus your thoughts. It helps you to understand yourself better. It helps you to connect with your feelings. And you can keep a journal to note down what is happening to you daily and how you feel, why you react to certain situations the way you do, what affects you most, what you enjoy most, what makes you happy. It is just a perfect way to unwind, to put your thoughts down on paper, to think through things. And in the long run, if you practice this regularly, you will find that actually you start thinking clearly, you start being able to track your progress, and as far as depression goes, you start to understand yourself better. So journaling is something I would totally recommend to anyone on this journey of overcoming and mastering depression. Even for anything else in life, journaling is just a good practice to help you to just be in the moment, and it's a good way to practice mindfulness as well. So writing brings clarity to thoughts and ideas. And sometimes thoughts are in our heads, they're just jumbled up, running around in our heads. Writing it down focuses us and helps us to think about what is most important about what we're thinking. So we choose our words carefully. Therefore, we only take down what is most important about that thoughts. And that process brings clarity. Over time, you will start connecting the dots. You start connecting what you're writing. Oh, I thought about this the other day, and today I've thought about this. And so it may not all come together at once, but you find that over time, as you write, you start connecting the dots, you start understanding yourself better. And that is a very good moment to be in. It can be a valuable resource for your therapy sessions too when you journal. When it comes to therapy and making the most of your therapy, you'll find that you are prepared because you've thought through certain things already. And not necessarily that you have to carry a journal, but that the process you went through in writing in your journal will help you also to what you need to say in therapy and what you need to focus on in therapy. And as I mentioned, you can keep track of your progress when you write something down rather than when it's just a thought in your head. So journaling brings clarity to your thoughts and feelings. It helps you know yourself better. It can reduce stress. It can help you solve problems more effectively. And it can help you resolve disagreements with others by writing your thoughts down in a clear and concise manner. So savor the moment. When at work, be fully at work. When at play, be fully at play. When with your children, be fully there for them. When with your spouse or partner, be fully there for them. Everywhere you are, be present. Give 100% to everything you are doing now. That is my philosophy in life. And one thing that can be a huge distraction to this is smartphones. This always comes back. A smartphone can prevent you from being fully present with the people you're with, having dinner with, talking to. It can be a huge distraction, and that's something that needs managing and needs smartness in terms of knowing how to handle that. But the bottom line is you need to start learning to savor the moment. Be fully present no matter what you're doing. Give time to what you're doing now. When you move on to the next task, give that its time. and the next task, give that its time. But don't let the next task or the next thing you have to do interfere with how much you enjoy now and how much you give to what you are doing now. Practice mindfulness. Learn to be in the moment, learn to relax, learn to be calm, learn to focus on now and not so much to live in the past or in the future. Make the most of the opportunities you have now, the relationships you have now, the time you have now, because now is all you have to enjoy. And I would urge you to find a technique of practicing mindfulness that is suitable for you and to go with it. Within a couple of weeks and months, you will start to notice tremendous changes in how you feel and how you perceive things around you and just how you live your life. Live now. And I love this picture because you can see the past there is blurred and the future is blurred. And that is how we're supposed to live our lives. We are supposed to focus on now. Yes, we can't totally let go of the past, but it's not supposed to be our focus. Yes, we shouldn't forget totally about the future, but it shouldn't be our focus. Our focus should be on now. So remember this picture when you think about living now, making the most of the present, to focus on now. Go ahead and do the exercises that are attached to this day's work. There are a lot of videos I've put up for you on mindfulness and how you can practice mindfulness. I have not gone into detail in this presentation on how you can actually practice it. Watch those videos and get more insight into how you can practice mindfulness. Good day to you.